Hello again, welcome back to the channel. Glad you could join me. Today I wanted to talk about the Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams. It's the first book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn, we come to find out, are the names of powerful magical artifacts that are swords that are part of the plot. The first sword goes by a different name, but it means Year of Memory, so that's why we have Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. Anyway, the main character is Simon. He's 14 years old. He lives in a castle, and he works in the kitchen. He's later apprenticed to the castle doctor, and the king passes away, and his son Elias ascends to the throne. Now, one of the interesting things about the Dragonbone Chair is that there's a lot of Christian mythology woven into it. There's King John Presbyter, who, if you know your Christian mythology, he was a fictional king living somewhere in China or India, somewhere in that area, who was said to have brought Christianity to that area of the world. And we have Elias, which is also a biblical name. There's his brother, and I don't know if we should call him Joshua or Joshua. I believe it's an analog of like Jesus even. Anyway, on top of that, there's a lot of English mythology mixed into it. We have the Scythi, which are a analog of the Sidhe from English mythology, from whom come the elves of like Tolkien's lore and stuff. So we have all of this going on. These mythological races are kind of in hiding. Man came along and didn't get along well with them for the most part, and had wars against them. And so they have either been killed or at least appear to have been killed. What we find out is that Elias is under the sway. I don't want to say thrall, because he's not being brainwashed or anything, but he's definitely being led by an evil cleric, Prierates, who is also in league with some of these races that want to either reclaim what they see as their proper place or take vengeance or whatever. So they are in league with the Storm King, who is the ruler of the Scythi, and he is trying to regain what they lost during the war with the humans. Elias, now king, throws his brother in the dungeon. Simon finds out about it, and he, along with the doctor to whom he's apprenticed, they spring him from the castle dungeons. But in the process, they are found out to be conspiring against the king. The doctor is killed. Simon escapes, and he goes off after the prince whom he helped free. So he goes off after him and meets several plot points along the way, shall we say. He witnesses dark magic between the Storm King and or the forces of the Storm King, Prierates, and King Elias. He finds one of these Scythi who's caught in a trap, and he frees him, and he meets Benebik, who is another, who becomes Simon's friend. He's shorter in stature. It still seems that he's human. He's not one of the mythical races, but he belonged to the same kind of group that the doctor, who was Simon's master, belonged to, and they were trying to be a force for good in the kingdom. They also meet King Elias's daughter, who was running away from him because he's totally crazy. And this kicks off a quest for Simon and some of the other people that he has met along the way to find these 3 swords, because they feel that with the Scythi in league with the forces of King Elias, that's really a bad combination, and the only thing that the only way that they can stave off disaster is to find these 3 legendary swords: Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. Thorn is the one that they decide to go after first, because a man comes to the council of the prince and says that he thinks he knows where Thorn is located. It used to belong to a human hero, and it disappeared, and they thought that it was lost in the sea. But as I said, this kicks off that quest to find the sword, and they travel to the north, snow, ice, frozen wasteland, and this is kind of when the story starts branching and widening. We get introduced to other factions and to other people in those factions and what they're doing and what it is that their goals are, and how they align or conflict with the main the main 2 forces on the move at the beginning of the book. So if you are at all scared off by tomes, do not read the Dragonbone Chair. All of the books in the series of Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn they're thick. They are thick. Let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how many pages are. Okay, so the hardback version of the Dragonbone Chair has 672 pages. It's not the thickest book I've ever read. I've read books, Les Miserables by Victor Hugo is over 1,000 pages long. But as I said, all the books in the series are very robust. The next book in the series, Stone of Farewell, is 608 pages. And the last book in the series, To Green Angel Tower, is 1,104. So, that's all together. There's a part 1 and a part 2 to that last one. So, you can get them all in one book. But yeah, anyway. So, we have a great introduction to a very rich world, and very rich plot. The thing is that you don't need to understand like Christian mythology or British English mythology. I just point out that those are some of the inspiring factors that went into the lore behind the races and what's going on in the Dragonbone Chair. I enjoyed it. It's been a minute or two since I've read the Dragonbone Chair. I remember my dad reading it when I was, I think, a teenager. Let's see. It looks like the Dragonbone Chair was printed in 1988. So I think my dad picked it up in the 90s, which I would have been in high school at that time. Anyway, Very interesting, very deep, very rich. Let me know if you've read the Dragonbone Chair. Let me know what you thought of it. Comment down below. As always, like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff that YouTubers harp on and appreciate. And until next time, enjoy what you're reading.